Thanks for joining me on the show today. I have a special guest who I've known inadvertently through my cousin, who's been talking about Danielle for many, many years now. I have a couple decades for sure. And I was made aware a few years ago, a couple of years ago almost now, when she was diagnosed with cancer, when Danielle was diagnosed. And all I heard from my cousin is about Danielle's positive attitude and how now she's helping in the cause of lung cancer, which is her diagnosis. And she'll talk more about that. But really, I have her here to hopefully inspire the rest of us, right, Danielle, to learn from your lessons and your comedy and your attitude and all things fabulous, Danielle. So thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for, reaching out. And I'm so glad that we finally have seen each other face to face and are connecting, because
I
it's
know.
been, between our, your cousin, my mutual friend of over 20 years. And now together through this journey of crazy cancer, we connect.
Yes. And for people tuning in, so part of why I wanted to have you here, Danielle, is your attitude throughout this ordeal, through being diagnosed with cancer and then the pandemic, and just kind of every time I've talked to you lately getting ready for this show, you say, I just keep living my life. I just keep living my life. So let's start at the beginning of your life and just kind of tell us about who you are now, but who you were before cancer came into your life, before these lessons that you've been learning the last couple of years. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, like I said, when we were talking off, camera and off the recording, I am a super positive person, and I have been living my life like this for years because I totally believe in the power of strong mental mindset. And if you are the person that can see something, then ultimately believe it, then you can achieve it. And everything starts in our brain, and we are in control of how we feel. And it ultimately trickles down to whether or not we're going to have a good day or a bad day. So I always try to look at the bright side of things. And I've done this for years. So this has sort of just been the way I've always lived my life. So prior to getting cancer, I was living my life, to the fullest, like most people, taking care of themselves and doing things with their friends. And I'm the type of person that really is a people person. So I had a job that I was doing over the years of working in radio and television. I've done everything from entertainment reporting, on air, morning show co-host for, hip hop stations in California, here in Phoenix, also working in television, working as an on-air traffic anchor, doing stuff on radio, doing stuff at the News Talk sports station, which was radio, doing stuff in TV as, a segment host, to hosting a show. And so I've always been someone who has been seen by the community. And then I started ultimately networking and volunteering in the community, learning about, my city, the people who are here, the ones who are making a difference. And I loved it. And I always took care of myself. I worked out all the time between hiking Camelback Mountain, running, doing 5Ks, 10Ks. When I was living in California, I would always go up to San Francisco and run in the Beta Breakers. And I just loved it because it was such a great way to immerse myself and meet new people, but also feel good and take care of myself. And then I had an opportunity, which we'll talk about later with the comedy, but that sort of just came into my life by accident. When I was working in radio as a morning show co-host, it was my job to go down, when I was living in California, to Monterey, California, to Planet Gemini, warm up the crowd and introduce the comedians. And then the headliner would come be on our morning show. So I got to know these different comedians, and I love the aspect of just interacting with the crowd and having fun with people. So I knew one day that I would want to step onto a stage and do some comedy, but not at that time because it was still new and I still wanted to have some life experience under my belt.
So as a kid, were you the person that was standing in front of your relatives performing? What about your childhood led you to be this bold adult?
No, as a kid, I was just someone who was sort of a free spirit, someone who was always easy to adapt to others and make friends and things like that. But I was never someone who did the stand up, but I would always have, sort of this quick witted, sense of humor, but still a little shyness there, but in a playful way. And then as a young adult, I was still, again, that person that had a lot of compassion and empathy. So I did do a lot of things in my community and interacted with a lot of different people and just felt like a sense of, appreciation for these people, especially people who were giving of themselves selfishly. And I sort of gravitated toward that. And so the work that I went into with broadcast journalism, I would always try to find a way to highlight individuals who were really making a difference in the lives of other people. And at the time, I didn't know it was that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There's a little bit of a delay. When you think about the attitude that you have, and just watching you and hearing you talk, it's very obvious that you're confident, outgoing, with a lot of personality. That's your personality. Where does that strength come from to face each day with a positive attitude? For the people who are watching, who are searching for that in themselves, especially right now, where does that come from, do you think, that you've always managed to maintain a positive attitude through all things?
I think for me, it comes from, one, I'm the oldest of 4 children. My mom was a single parent raising 4 children on her own. She's the oldest of 11 children. And my grandmother is also, someone who grew up during the Depression, had a limited education, but she had 12 children, raised those 12 children, did what she had to do, from, working in people's houses, being a servant, taking janitorial jobs, whatever she needed to do. So those were my examples growing up. And I knew for me, I always wanted to be someone who was, because I was always around it, appreciative of the others and the work that they did, because that's all I ever saw. My mom giving to other people, even though we didn't have very much, and helping them feel welcome. My grandmother doing the same. And so it just sort of became, when you see it and you're immersed in it, it just becomes your everyday lifestyle. You're not even thinking of it as, this is my core of strength. This is just how I was brought up. So that's what I just sort of gravitated to, and I sort of led by those examples and incorporated it into my life. My mom's an incredibly strong woman. My grandmother, who recently passed at 94 years of age, she was an incredibly strong woman. And so these are the examples that I had in my life. And so that's what I just sort of mimicked and sort of went on to live my life as.
Well, I want to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to share a little bit about your comedy journey and how you became a stand-up comedy. We're going to show some pictures of you and also a clip in the next segment. I watched it this morning and had a really good laugh. It was a good way to start my day. When we come back, we'll talk more with Danielle Williams. She's going to share her journey to comedy. I don't use the word journey very much, but you seem to have a big journey going on, so I'm using the word. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back talking with Danielle Williams. She told us a little bit about her story coming up as a kid and her determination, taught by her mother and grandmother. Thank you again for being here today. You look beautiful.
Thanks. I put in some effort. I said, I got to put on some makeup and a good wig for you today, Diva.
Well, at the end of this segment, we'll show a clip of your some of the stand-up you sent me, and part of it is about wigs. And it's funny because when we were scheduling this, I'm thinking, okay, what day will I probably need makeup? Let's schedule for that day, because not every day does this happen right now, because I work from home, and a lot of us are home, and I'm working out at home. But anyway, thanks for being here and making the effort. You look fabulous.
You're welcome.
So your stand-up comedy, that is something that you thought you would do at one point. What was the catalyst that was like, okay, it's time? I mean, obviously you felt like you wanted to live some life and get some material, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the catalyst that said, okay, it's time to give it a try? And tell us about how that got started.
Well, I decided just from watching comedy, and I felt like at the time I had some life experience under my belt. So I was like, you know what? This is a good time. And that was around 2013. I started thinking, I've been doing a lot. I've been working in the community. I have some experience through life with relationships, good friends, people coming and going. I want to give this a try. So what I did is I just started going and watching a lot of stand-up and YouTubing a lot of stand-up. And then I went to a couple of open mics. And it was there with no material written or anything. I just wanted to immerse myself in the atmosphere and take and soak up all of what it had to offer and the feeling I would get. And it was an opportunity for anybody who wanted to sign up to come on stage, share anything that maybe they had written or want to talk about. So that's what I did. I just went on stage to see what it would feel like, because it's a total different perspective versus sitting in the audience. So I went on stage and I just shared a little bit about my day. I said, I don't have any jokes. I introduced myself. And I said, but I just wanted to see what it felt like to be on stage and just have some fun with you all. And it felt so good. And then from there, I was like, all right, I have to understand the theory and the mechanisms of actually writing jokes and how to present myself on stage as a comedian. And that was the journey.
So the first time you did it, you didn't really have anything prepared. What was the next time like? Then you're thinking, okay, now I know what that feeling is on stage. Did you nail it the first time? Did you get the laughs you were hoping for? Did you get them when you thought you'd get them? I watched your clip and your timing's perfect. The jokes all work, but I'm guessing maybe you had to build up to that perhaps, or were you just a natural from the start?
Yes, I had to build up to that because I still had to understand actually writing a joke and material, understanding my body language, being comfortable, delivery, voice inflections, all of that goes into it. Because a lot of people think, oh, you just get up there and tell jokes. It's kind of like when we see a model, oh, they're just taking pictures, they're just posing. But there's so much more that goes into it. So I actually invested by talking with other comedians, doing writing sessions, and then I would go to these open mics and I would practice. And the number one tip that I got was write about something that you can speak about without ever flinching. Something that just rolls off your tongue. And I says, oh, well, that's easy. I'll write about my wigs because I wear them every day. I love them. And so I just started thinking of all the things that embody me and my wigs and the things that I've gone through with them. And there was it was about 3 minutes that I had written. And so I was using that each time I would go out to these open mics or get opportunity to have a few minutes on stage. And I was just working on perfecting that. And then when I did, I started concentrating on all the other elements, the body language, the facial expression.
Well, let's take a quick look. I have about a 3-minute clip that you sent me, and it's largely about your wigs, but it's really, I wish I could have heard the whole thing. I wish I could have been there in the audience. When the world opens up, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come see you perform for sure. So let's watch this. We're going to go to break out of this, but here's a nice clip of Danielle Williams and her performance stand-up comedy. Take a look.
I don't have any kids. No. Okay, so I have wigs and shoes, you guys. Wigs and shoes, that's it. And the wigs are my children. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I love them. I have a separate room for them. I even love this one so much that I bought her a car seat, you guys. Yeah, because they say you gotta protect the ones you love, When this show is over, I'm taking her off, I'm putting her in her car seat, and I'm buckling her up for safety, because we gotta go home. We did our job, okay? We did our job. Wigs and shoes, I love them. And people laugh at me all the time because they're like, Tina, you have so many wigs, and I do. And I love them, they're perfect. They go with every occasion. And that's why I tell people, I literally have a wig for every occasion in life. And my one friend says, you got to be kidding me. And I says, no, let me tell you. I got called to jury duty, you guys. It was rough, but I had to pull out my Condoleezza Rice wig. I did. I had to pull out my Condoleezza Rice wig. I walked into the courthouse, I was like, Your Honor, I concur. I said, he is guilty as charged. He said, what are you talking about? I said, oh, I don't know, it's the wig.
We're back with Danielle Williams. You watched in the second segment a clip of her comedy. Such good stuff. You're really funny. I can't wait to see you in person.
Oh, thanks.
Gave me a good lesson in wigs. Talk about now, we're shifting gears in a big way, that you were diagnosed with cancer. It's been almost just about 2 years.
Yeah, just a little over 2 years.
Okay. And talk about that, because having been someone who took care of herself, you didn't drink, you didn't smoke, you didn't do drugs, you exercised, and you were diagnosed with lung cancer. And the first thing that kind of tipped you off to that was the unexplained weight loss. So if you will, take us through that part of your life when nothing was making sense in your health, and then that diagnosis that came?
Yeah, it was 2018, and that was a really good year for me. 2018 was encompassing so much. I was finishing and about to graduate in May of 2018 with my degree in journalism. Then I was turning 50 in May of 2018. Then I was going to go to Miami because I had been working out 6 days a week, changed the way I ate, because I always worked out, but I altered everything because I wanted to be in the best shape of my life for my 50th birthday, to be in a bikini on the beach in Miami. Because in my mind, I was going to run into J-Lo and I was going to be picked up and put in her music video. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I go to Miami, and when I come back in June, I'm feeling fine. The 1st of July, feeling really good. By the end of July, I started feeling a little bit of fatigue, and then my lower back started to hurt. August comes around, starting to feel more pressure and pain, not sure what it was. By October, I went to the dentist, and my dentist said, you know what, your gums are not healing from that procedure we did before you graduated, and by now your gums should be healed. He says, your body is telling me just from your oral hygiene that something is seriously wrong with your health, and I want you to go to the doctor and get it checked out. I said, well, you know.
Were you already losing weight at this point, the unexplained weight loss?
I had lost just a little bit of weight, but it didn't start until about that last month. Toward the middle end of October, the 1st of November, it got progressive and it went really fast. And I had gotten down to 94 pounds. Well, I went and got an MRI of my spine because my doctor couldn't figure out, why are you losing weight? What is going on? He says, well, you're complaining of back pain. Let's do an MRI of your spine. Once they did that, they determined that I had stage 4 lung cancer, and it just went everywhere. It went to my lower spine, my pelvis, the top of my right shoulder. It was in my bones, and it was just eating away at me. And at this whole time, I was working out. I was still hiking. I was still working out because I didn't know what I had. A lot of people thought I had an eating disorder, and I'm like, I'm eating everything, but it's not sticking. I was just taking Advil and pushing through the pain.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that unexplained weight loss is something you always want to get to the bottom of.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big blaring red light letting you know something's not right, and the not healing. I told you off camera that I had cancer when I was 24, and I remember I had this spot on my wrist that maybe I got a cleaning product on it or something, and it caused a little burn, and it just didn't go away. It just didn't go away. And it wasn't until starting treatment and starting to get to the bottom of things and battle this cancer that the things that weren't adding up for me before were starting to make sense. The unexplained weight loss, the arm that wouldn't heal, that kind of thing. What about you? You've definitely shared with us your positive attitude and how you navigate your life. Were you automatically able to shift into that gear with cancer too? Was there a pause, like, how could this happen? I do all these things right. Lung cancer, stage 4. What was that like for you, and what were you able to just shift right into that mindset, or stay in that mindset, I should say?
Yeah, it was a rude awakening, like an eye opener, because I was someone who took care of myself. So the questions were all there, like, how could this happen? How could I have stage 4 lung cancer when I've never smoked? Yeah, and because I was so thin, and then you see yourself at your weakest and at your sickest, yeah, there were tears, there was frustration, but I snapped out of it. I gave myself literally 3 days to be frustrated, mad, and everything. And then I said, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. There's going to be a bigger picture that I'm just not yet seeing that is going to present itself. Because for someone like me to be extremely healthy and take care of myself, to get stage 4 lung cancer for no reason, with no other person in my family having this is a sign. And that's how I looked at it. I thought that there's going to be something good.
A wake-up call and offering to other people. Yes.
Yeah. I had a huge epiphany maybe 4 months into it. I started to see things that I've never seen before. And I was like, everything that I had been doing in my life up to this point was just a way for me to sharpen my tools, because I'm on the path of something bigger and greater, and everything that I know is going to be utilized, but on a bigger platform. That's how I looked at it. And so then I just started to embrace my cancer. And I started to tell my doctor every time I would see him, you know what I'm doing today? I'm killing my cancer with kindness. It's a good day. And he'll be like, oh my God, I don't have any patients like you. And I said, that's because I've embraced this cancer. And I said, everything is mental. And if I treat it good, it cannot do any more damage to this body. It's not going to win because everything starts in my mind. So I said, I'm just going to reverse psychology on this cancer, not give into it, and I'm going to win. And that's what I've been doing from day one.
It's really remarkable. I've sat with a lot of people over the years, whether it's for my checkup or people that I've interviewed, who attitude is so important. Your mindset is so important. I've read a lot of books about creative visualization. I used to imagine that the chemo would go in and melt the cancer. Some people imagine Pac-Man's eating the cancer. Whatever it is, whatever your mindset is, to live that way is important. We just have a couple minutes left. So it's obvious you look fabulous. You're feeling fabulous. And it looks like you've beat this cancer.
It's been just a little over 2 years because November 21st, 2018 was the day I was diagnosed. And, you know, I've gone through everything from surgeries, biopsies, chemo every 3 weeks for almost 2 years. I'm still getting medication through my port. I take pills every day. But I live my life like I don't have it. And because I live in Arizona, it's gorgeous here. So I walk, I go hiking, I ride my bike on the canals, I do my doctor visits, and I just am so thankful every day because I've seen others who have unfortunately passed away. And I keep telling myself, mind over matter, strength over time equals power. I have the power to change my perception. As long as I'm here for however long that is, that's what my goal is every day. Positive in, negative out.
It's so good. Well, we are wrapping up. I'm just so happy that you've done well. I know that you're doing a lot to support organizations that are involved with lung cancer, but also the community that you live in. You have a show that we'll make sure we put the information there with your picture. And just keep up the good work. And I'm sure that people that you encounter in your everyday life are moved and inspired by you. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, to hopefully lend some of that extra special sparkle to the people who are watching. So the best to you going forward, for sure. Thanks so much for being here, and just keep up the good work in the world.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I always tell people, if you can't be your own cheerleader and you're going through something, reach out to me. I will be your cheerleader 100%. Mwah!
Thank you so much.
It's good to talk with you, Lisa.
Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Do you want to become part of the most dependable brand of vehicles today? Then start looking at Town Toyota. Come drive the best-selling, totally redesigned 2019 RAV4. Come check out the powerful towing performance of the Tundra. It's built for the worksite and the weekend. Forge your own path and seek tougher roads in the Tacoma. Leave no trail left unchallenged. Whatever your vehicle needs, Toyota has a seat for you. Come visit us today.